Hi, I'm Ryan of MidNite Solar. Today I want to show you the differences between a classic Lite and a classic charge controller. Okay, on your standard classic you have an MNGP, MidNite graphics panel. As you can see, it has a display, shows you the stuff going on in the classic, allows you to program the classic using the buttons down below. As you can see, we have a variety of buttons. We have a menu button, allows us to go into the menu structure. We can scroll through the menu structure. We can exit the menu structure, so on and so forth. We also have a speaker in the MNGP, MidNite graphics panel. Now we move over to the MNLP, and there is no speaker, there is no display. You'll notice we have LED indication of charge stage. Bulk, absorb will be yellow, float will be green. You look down here, we also have a ground fault light and a current limit light, as well as an equalize light and a manual equalization button. I'll show you the inside of the MNLP MidNite LED panel in a little bit, but first I want to explain the insides of the classic, and they really are identical to each other. And to show that, I'm going to go ahead and take the covers off and show you the insides. Okay, I've taken the cover off my Classic 250. I unplugged the blue cable on my Classic 250. I left this one to show you. It's a standard phone cable. There's a tab there. We push the tab in, take it out just like a phone cable. I had to do that on the standard Classic as well as the Classic Lite. I've also turned off the battery power and the PV power to both controllers before removing the covers. Now, as you can see, the hardware is virtually identical. The only difference being is this is a 250KS, this is a Classic 150. The Classic Lite, however, in hardware does not have arc fault protection, where the standard Classic does have arc fault protection. So to recap, the only differences between the Classic Lite and a standard Classic: the Classic Lite does not have arc fault protection, and it does not have an MNGP, MidNite's graphics panel. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the covers back on and show you the inside of the MNLP. The MNLP has 2 rows of dip switches. Set 1, set 2. Each set has 8 dip switches. These switches allow you to do all the programming, everything from the solar mode to the battery voltage to the IP address. And basically what they do is they replace the buttons in the menu structure over here. So the MNGP has no dip switches, but it has the buttons that allow you to go through and see the menus on the graphical interface, whereas over here we have dip switches that replace the interface of the MNGP. We also have a manual equalization button. I'm not going to go into detail on what these dip switches do here, other than just to point out that they program it based on the charts that are included on the cover. There's one here and there's one on the back side of the cover. There's also in the manual that came with their Classic Lite is a full functionality of these switches. I will say that with the switches standalone, this controller is set up to be a solar controller for a 12, 24, or 48 volt battery. If you want to use it for any other voltage battery or for any other input mode, you either need to interface it with an MNGP on a standard Classic, or program it with an MNGP in custom mode, or you need to hook it up to your computer and use the local application software we give you with the Classic Lite. Okay, that has been the difference between the Classic Lite and the standard Classic. Until next time, I'm Ryan of MidNite Solar.